Okay, you're good.
Recording in progress. Very good. Okay. Hello, friends. So today we are looking at my Bootstrap project, and we're going to try and go for a little bit more of an advanced workflow than we showed last week. So what we want to look for right now is our meetup folder here, meetup 35, and see if that's going to work, which thankfully it is. Thank heavens. Okay. So, Bootstrap is a repo that you can find perhaps in chat. I would link it. It's just twillaw/bootstrap. And it's for doing development workflows in such a way where you have a kind of structure to how you attempt to do multi-agent operations in them. So, what I'm going to do is open this up here. And at the moment, it's a little bit messy, but we have agents.md. One might recognize a file like this. So this is a big, long file with a whole bunch of instructions in it. You don't have to worry about that as the human. Your job is to just read the README, which can be found here. So, there are a couple of like colloquial, I don't know, a couple of conventions. Ultimately, this repo is for me and not necessarily for other people, but I've tried to make it as accessible as I can be. But it uses some conventions that I have found helpful in my own development workflows, and then some of it might be specific to my machine or my setup, but it's intended at least long term, to be something that you can just grab, run bootstrap.sh and just get going with. So for this, there's a couple of like parts of the stack. We went over OpenSpec last week. You'll see here that says strict mode versus full YOLO. Those are just conventions that I use. Basically, the workflow that exists in the as part of this repo, so you just clone it down and use it as a template, is very codified. It's just do the same thing, same 4, 5, 6 steps over and over and over until your thing is done. Um, which generally means if I'm going to do that, I have a very specific way that I want my agents to behave. So my default is strict. But sometimes I just want to get the frickin' thing out the door. So then I will just tell the agent, go full YOLO. And then it will just start ripping out code for me. Um, so those are things to know if you use Bootstrap. You don't necessarily need to know them. It'll just be kind of slow and token heavy just by default because everything will default to strict. BR is an application that we use to have agents create tickets, work items for each other. It used to be BD, but I have recently changed that because BD is gigantic and bloated now. Um, Here's the meat and potatoes. The the basic premise is what we want to do is make the agent write a plan, then structure the plan to be a maximally parallelizable workflow. I will usually say something like maximally parallel work streams. And what that will give me is it will take an open spec, which is something that gets installed in the repo and the agents will handle for you. But it will take a spec and then it will break that spec down into tasks that can be completed simultaneously. And usually I'll get 4 or 5 work streams out. Um, then what they are supposed to do is so they plan, then they parallelize, then they fan out with a smaller model to complete all of those work streams in parallel. Then a larger agent does a review stage. We work in a convention called test-driven development, if you're familiar with that. So what we do is we write tests first, because what we want to do is match our spec intent to the constraints of what can our agents write. And then what the agents do is they go, hey, I have a failing test suite. I'm going to turn the next test green. I'm going to evaluate if I need to refactor. Then if I'm good, I'm going to do the same thing over and over and over until I'm full greens on the test suite. This way, what we get out of this is a fully spec'd out repo with a log of what our intended functionality is supposed to be. Then we get a series of test constraints that codify that intent into it will work this way as long as these tests are passing. And then we make the agents work one by one through the test suite until we get full green. So our workday should always end with a fully green test suite, which means our application does definitely work. Now, did we construct it in the right way, or did we give the agents the right direction? That's what we're caring about. We're not caring about did the agent do what we expected it to do, because it's always going to every time. That's kind of what I build my workflow around. We also added a couple of extra little tools for the agent to kind of help the agents be a little more token efficient. SEM is one of them. And then Git Butler is how we do version control so we can do all these parallel workflows. I'm also not watching chat. If anybody has questions, feel free to stop me or whatever. We have a whole what you would normally do, and actually we'll go and try doing it now. We're going to see if we can just run bootstrap.sh. We might need to sudo chmod it, bootstrap.sh.
So Warren, Roger, do we want to have people try to follow along?
You are welcome to do so yeah, if you feel like it, go for it. If you just want to watch, also fine.
I'll join in.
Cool. Gonna trust all our Mies config files. So we used to install Go and UV and Bun because we like the shiny new fast things. I changed that over today to say just let Mies handle everything. That's kind of the point of why I have Mies in there. So I believe it might do an extra installation of Go for the tool chain, if I'm not mistaken. But in terms of how do we manage the versions of Go, of Rust, of Node, of Python, etc., all of that is handled by Mies. Every single command starts with Mies if it's going to have to do with either your environment variables, any tasks you're going to run, or any part of your tool chain. So the sort of the name of the game here is consistency. Like we want to have the semantic information that exists in the repo. If it's related to tool chains, environment variables, or task running, it is always going to use Mies. So let's see, there's already okay, so I have to fix that one later. And unfortunately, it stalls out there, which is kind of annoying. Thankfully, I already have the tools installed, and this should work for you. So you guys let me know if you can get all the way through your bootstrap. But let's see. How are we going to, let me just double check and see what I've got here. So let's do BR BD. Which BD? Which BD? Interesting. Which BR? Oh, because Bootstrap won't fire. Gotcha. That's kind of annoying, but BD init. Nope, not community. Okay, so this is going to use the regular version of beads, and I'm just going to walk through manually what the Bootstrap script does and tries to set you up for. So that way we can sort of go through each of these components. It's also going to do entire enable. And we are going to do open code. We're going to do cursor. We've got factory. I'll just throw Gemini in there too. What entire does is it collects traces of what my agents do while I'm working. So you can see it's got hooks installed, it's got project and configured. And then when we do a push later, you'll see that an extra branch gets created, and that's what contains the trace information. So we have BD ready to go. We have entire enabled. And then let's see, what's the rest of my stuff? We've got open spec. Let's go ahead and open spec init here. Open spec init. And let's go and select our tools. We will just grab everybody. Got Windsurf on there too. And so this gets us started with our specs. So we have changes and specs here ready to go. We've got an archive sitting there. That is our sort of codified, enforced, like you will plan this or else, Mr. Agent, kind of thing. BR SG is AST grep, so that's going to be for agents, semdiff, and we have get butler up. And then, yeah, so we are good to go from here. You'll also see linCTL. This probably won't feature that much in this sort of run through here. Um, but from here, let me think about what our actual maybe we just make like a real quick snake game here. So let's get rid of that. We'll go meetup 3-4. And so now, boop, CD meetup 3-5. There we go. Okay, let me just throw up an open code here. So open code also has a bunch of stuff in it already that will take over for some of this for me. I'm also going to need to switch models as well. So I'm going to fix
What
my MC. Hmm.
what type of things does open code have that'll take over? Like the task scheduling, to-do list, and that type of thing?
Yeah, so it does a little bit. Oh, I see chat up here. Actually, I can pull that stuff up. Very nice. Okay, cool. Anybody have the link to Bootstrap? Anyone else gonna live code? Trying getting an unbound variable running Bootstrap. Womp womp. Yeah, I might have broke it. Sorry.
That's working for
Um,
me right now.
is it? Okay,
Yeah, yeah, so far.
cool.
I'm just running in a code space, so
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, that is interesting. Yeah, or yeah, Ted, if that unbound variable is sticky, feel free to create an issue for me, and I'll see if I can grab it later. We want to leave MCP hub up. We're gonna drop that. The stuff that open code does, let me just see. Yeah, the stuff that open code automatically does. I have Oh My Open Code installed, which is sort of a similar version to the thing that I have in Bootstrap, where I have a couple of different types of agents. I have it's going to use some amount, it's got some pre-installed hooks, et cetera, et cetera. So it would be best for me to use like a clean version if of just like a vanilla open code or a vanilla Claude code or something. But unfortunately, I just canceled my Claude Code subscription yesterday, so I need to wait for my funds to hit my bank before I can re-enable that. So now we're just actually, it might be good for us to do it with Codex. Let's do it with Codex actually. Because Codex should be mostly vanilla, which will help us display the thing a little bit better. So if we go to projects and we go to meetup, let's see if we can make the coolest snake game ever to exist. Copy skill folders from that. Yes, sir. Let me get those skills. All right, 5-4. Can you use the OpenSpec workflow flow to spec out unfortunately, Codex is not going to have access to alternate model subagents. So there's a little bit of wonkiness here, but to spec out the coolest snake game in the universe, be off the wall, push the envelope, go off king. Give us a full spec set for wave 1 of maximally parallel snake games or snake game work items. You can interview me about what cool ideas would be good to implement in a snake game before you get started. All right, let's just fire it up with Codex here. So normally what I like to do, so what we're going to see is that it should use the OpenSpec skills or it may or may not use the skills themselves, but it should start creating specs. it may want to do the interview first.
Where does it where does it get the skills? Does it because the skills are defined in the Claude directory, is that right? Or at least Claude
Uh,
skills are. Does this have a separate?
Codex has a .codex slash
Oh, there
skills.
is a
It just
dot.
imp
Okay, I didn't see that.
Yep.
Okay.
Hmm.
So similar type of thing.
Yep. And so it's reading those skills now to figure out what it is let's see. Issue tracker state, coherent wave one change with parallel task slices instead of improvising the structure. Very good. Good job. Good job, little buddy. So
What?
what's nice about this is like there's like 20 tools in the repo, right? But you, the human, don't have to learn any of them because the agents have enough to know about all of them. You can just walk in and go, give me a cool snake game. And then we get, oh, okay, these skills are already here. So you run, pull it up, run Bootstrap and say, give me a game. Yeah, sorry, did you have a question?
At some point, I'd like to come back to the where it knows to fire off these multiple parallel agents. I'm assuming the
Yeah.
agents.md is something you created
Yep.
or
Yep.
edited. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so the whole workflow of fire off the parallel agents, do things, default schema is spec driven, wants proposal, design specs, tasks, with tasks as the gate for implementation, draft the concept architecture now, fan it out into capabilities. So the reason it's going, oh, I'm going to fan it out is because I have that put in agents.md already. So
Okay.
it's already got that sort of injected into context for it. Let me see. If I can hop to, let me see if I've got somebody working on that. I believe I do. Oh, did we have a
What
seg fault? Interesting.
While you're looking for that, one comment I'll make
Mhm.
is just in
Yeah.
playing around with OpenSpec, I found that you can it uses a schema, and right now you're using a specific schema, meaning like here's the artifacts it's going to generate during the planning process before it implements.
Hmm.
Uh, but you can create custom ones, and you can add steps, like add additional artifacts. Um,
Hmm.
like I added testing, making sure that it's testing. I asked for, a open API document to describe the interfaces and a data models file to describe what the data models are for the application as well.
There you
So
go.
just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, just making the point that it seems like OpenSpec is kind of um, a blank, not quite blank slate, but it is something that's very customizable. You just throw in the pieces that you want.
Yeah, no, that is largely what I liked about it. Here, let's throw Codex on there. Proceed. Maybe. Okay, yeah, he's cooking. Maybe he will fix that thing for you, Ted. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. Um, and so let's see. Let's hop back to Codex. All right, needs one correction before. Okay, so he didn't even interview me at all. So let's see what kind of proposals Codex has come up with here. So I think I will need to probably quit out of this, I'm guessing. Because NVim is not super great about files getting edited outside of it. But let's take a look and see if we have build supernova sake game. It's got a readme. Okay. Classic Snake is one of the cleanest game loops ever made. Supernova Snake, centered on high-speed runs through unstable cosmic arenas instead of a static grid box. Crisp movement, readable danger, food archetypes, combo change, living arenas, biome rules, hazards. This looks pretty wild. So we have a couple more specs coming through the pipeline, it looks like. See what Codex is doing. Design is in, one spec per capability now. So one spec per capability, we should see arcade run loop, phase food and combo system, mutation powers, living arenas and hazards, run progressions and challenges. We have a game shell and onboarding, and then a spectacle and accessibility layer. So we will see what all the specs are that we get out of wave one here. And so this is taking a while because I have them on, I have 5.4 on extra high. So hopefully we will get a series of specs. Each spec will have a certain amount of task lists. And then what we will do is we'll take the tasks from those, we'll load those up into beads with dependencies sort of added to them. And then normally what I would do, and I'm gonna have to think about this, because normally I would use my open code and I would use my models. I would use my z.ai coding plan and I would use GLM5 just because that is mostly like super cheap, basically. So once the sort of trick there is that what I want to do is for all of the planning and the cool stuff, I want to use a big model that's kind of expensive to figure that out. But for the actual grunt work of like put in the things and get the of writing the actual code, then what I will probably want to do. Okay, so we have a bunch of specs there. Specs are in place, pulling the task template now and turning it into an actual wavelet execution graph with work splits so gameplay contracts unlock 5 parallel streams instead of serializing the whole game behind one prototype. Very good, very good, very good. So then we hop back over here and we are seeing potentially some specs popping up in short order. And then here, specs, no specs yet. Specs, there we go. All right, cool. So we have all of those specs ready to go. Oop, wrong thing. Codex. BD create. So we see that we are doing BD create, BD dep add, and BD close. So he is now taking those tasks. So we have all the spec, and then we have all the tasks, foundations of contracts, parallel experience, vertical slicing validation. I feel like we don't have a lot of tasks here, so we'll kind of see what we get out of this. But what we will get, actually, I wonder if I can use my BV here to watch what he's doing. BV. Dang. Ah, well. Normally, I would be able to watch those tickets a little bit more closely. BD graph. BD graph dash dash all. No open issues found. Okay, well, we'll see. Spec set is complete. Mapping it into BD now is an epic plus dependency linked child task because the repo rules are explicit. The planning lives in the issue graph, not only in the open spec markdown. So this is again a thing that's already codified into the agents.md. And so we should see some commands here where he starts taking the spec sets and then mapping those into BD as he can, as is the thing. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like these tasks are pretty light. So we'll see what we get out of it. But once he's got that all loaded into BD and we've got all of our open specs stuff verified, what I'm thinking is I'm going to have Codex write based on all right, hit one repo local beats problem is crashing. It's like, yeah, this is why I moved to BR instead of BD. Unfortunately, I couldn't run Bootstrap, so um, that bit may have failed. Found the lightly. Okay, cool. So hop to Butler and then see if we go to Bootstrap. Then I should have that start a commit. Oh, I need to turn that thing on. Fix for TED. Uh, ah, great. And then force push. And then do we need to create a PR for it or do we already do it? I don't know. Just gonna merge it if we can. Whoop. merge. This is also, I guess, a little thing I'll touch on. I have a couple of extra bots. So one of the reasons that I like the Git Butler workflow is because it forces me to PR in everything, even the stuff that I like force push directly to main. And then I have Sorcery and Copilot kick off extra reviews there. So generally, so if I'm working in waves, which is hopefully what Codex is working on at the moment, can isolate it. Okay, yeah. On stage only the pulling the commit. Okay. Stage says okay, so normally if it was a human trying to use all of these tools at once, it might be pretty messy, but hopefully Codex is just going to be able to figure it out. I'm trying to get them to stop using Git and just use either the Butler CLI or let me kind of handle it. Okay. Not an isolated. Okay. So we've got the commit, and remind me I need to change that later. And Ted, your issue may be fixed now. We will see. So once exported beats issue graph are in it. Okay, cool. So I wonder, can I see that issue graph now? BD graph dash dash all. There we go. So now you will see the advantage of using beads is that we have like this graph of dependency chains, et cetera, et cetera. And so I see that we're starting with a one that's dependent on all of these. And then we have another layer two, which is going to be like this one's going to go to here. And then we're going to assemble all of that stuff. And then we also want to make sure that it does TDD. So what I'm thinking about now is like, okay, I probably want a smart model to do the test writing. And then I'll have GLM fill in all the actual code. So let me hop to Codex. All right, cool. Branch PR entry. So let me hop to Git Butler. Let's go back to our meetup. Let's go here. All right, and we have all of this stuff. We are just going to pile all of that on for fun and profit. Okay, cool. So let me create a branch here. It's going to be T branch one. And drop everything in there. And then let me do AI options. We're going to enable that. We're going to enable that. Start a commit. Generate.
I'm sorry, what are you doing right now?
I am using Git Butler. So you saw all of those changes, right?
Yeah.
So now I have all of the Git diffs sitting in here.
Yeah.
So this is the thing that I just swapped out for JJ. And then I just flipped on the like enable the commit messages and stuff just so I could have that generate real quick. This is a virtual branch that is living on my machine. Git Butler essentially sort of like takes over your entire Git and it uses one primary trunk branch and then creates virtual branches on top of that, which is nice for multi-agent workflows because what I can do is I can create this and then I get the next wave of actual changes on the skill MD. So let's start that.
So you're managing that, the agent isn't managing these commits?
No, I am attempting to have the agent not manage these commits. I am now the commit manager.
Why is that?
More.
Why are you doing that? Why not? Just
Because I wanted to I switched away from JJ because I have found the workflow to be like not especially intuitive. So I'm just gonna move these like back off here because I know they're already committed. But for instance, let's say I wanted to do, I want a couple more branches here, and I want like four versions of feature number one. I can take all of the edits are going to pile up over here, and then I can drop in I can take these and drop them into T branch 3, let's say, and say, oh, okay, that's where we change those. And this way I have like a really nice like kind of visual UI to just drag and drop the files where they would be best best suited to exist at. Now sometimes it's going to get a little janky just because I just added this tool today, but as you can see now I have a T branch 3 that's got that I can maybe unapply stack. That I can go review all of the potential changes on an individual basis. So basically, this is sort of like JJ was a little bit manual, like I have to learn it. I don't want to have to learn it. So I have swapped over to Butler because I know that workflow. I know that I can take over. Basically, the obstacle with JJ was what I tried to instruct was, hey, every time you deploy a subagent, I need you to create a new JJ workspace. And they weren't always doing that. So I swapped over to Git Butler because I know how the Git Butler workflow is supposed to work. And that way I can use multiple virtual branches if I want to experiment with different kinds of features, and I can just sort of drag and drop stuff around between branches as I go, essentially, if
So
that makes sense.
yeah, I wonder if this might be a good branch point to go to. How is it that you told it to do that? Is that in the agents.md?
Told it to do which?
Well, for instance, to use Git Butler.
Yes, all of that is in agents.md. BRME's Git Butler is the preferred branch orchestration model for parallel work in this repo. Let's see, Git Butler. Git Butler, prefer Git Butler over JJ. Dirty work goes on the workspace,
But
and
they're
then
not
Git.
doing commits. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah. Or the ideal workflow is you guys don't commit, just leave that to me because Git Butler is just going to sort of handle all of that in the background, essentially. And then because they're not committing, I get to drag all of these file changes
Got
around
it.
to whichever virtual branches that I want, if that makes sense.
Now, are they all working in the same work tree, Git tree, or do you have multiple?
Um, we don't yeah, there are no work trees involved in the Git Butler workflow. Git Butler has the single trunk branch and then it has virtual branches. It doesn't do work trees.
Is the game ready?
The game is not ready. The game we have not kicked off the actual coding part. We have just been in changes and specs. So what we want to do here, what I was debating, okay, based on the specs, can you give us a starter test suite? Whoops. Let's go back to Codex here. Codex. Based on the existing specs and the workflow, can you give us a starter test suite that's going to give us some rails to deploy subagents onto? Okay.
Could Codex just come up with a game on its own, and then it's just text instructions without all this other stuff?
Yeah. The reason I do it this way is because I intended to do it this way. You could certainly say just like build a really cool ass snake game and let it rip. But for me, I like to know what's going where and why, and that's what this is about, essentially.
Yeah, it would seem like you'd want to get to a first version and then iterate from there. Say if you don't even like the first version, you're kind of like using a lot of tools here and you might not even like it. So I would say it's more important to get to the first product and then go from there, different text commands, the whole thing. It's that's the whole point of all this software is to scale like we could never do before. Just let it do its thing. I watched this thing by it's Boris Chernoff. He's the head of Cloud
Hmm.
Code. He says just let the model do its thing. Don't
Yep.
specify like I don't know if he's referring to OpenSpec, but all these other things, the model might not like to use those specific
Yeah.
for that specific
Yes.
task. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean, in fact. So, so this whole like this whole workflow is a product of me being an agent-driven software engineer since before agents worked. So a lot of this stuff was like I could get GPT-4 Turbo 128K to build me a game that is this cool, but I needed all of these rails to do it. Now, some of it has become superfluous, and I've trimmed it over time, but I find the ones that I've kept to be helpful because this way I at least have a record of like what the structure of the thing is going to be, what the intents are going to be, and what the constraints are on the model before I just let it rip. Because if I just let it rip, I'm going to get a game, but I'm not going to know at all how it works. I'm not going to know what the intent behind the code base is. I'm not going to know, what any of the tests are or what they mean, anything like that. So this
Well,
is
I
a
think at this stage, with even with OPEX too, is that you could get awesome things you weren't expecting, and then just work with it what it first gives you, and then be
yeah.
more specific, and you're at like a really good starting point.
Yeah, totally. And like, yeah, for this, um, it's not as exciting live, but if like I can kick off hey, spec me out the coolest snake game in the universe. I can go for a walk. I can come back. All the specs are ready to go. All of the parallel work streams are ready to go. I can go, cool. Make it. And then I can go for a walk. I can come back. And then what I have, the advantage of kind of going through the codified process is I know what to expect. And if something breaks or if something doesn't work the way I expected it to, I have a corpus enough here where I can tell an agent, hey, go figure out why this thing is the way it is, and it can pull that back for me. So if I just do it without anything, all I get is the finished product. All I get is the thing that comes out at the end. As opposed to this way, I can unblack box any black boxes that exist in the code base, and there are going to be a lot of them. Ultimately, that's sort of what the objective of the thing is.
Yeah, I think we'll see more and more. It's doing all the heavy lifting. Like I just had to
Hmm.
generate three papers, three 10-page
Yeah,
papers in a single
totally.
prompt, and it did its own code base too. So
Hmm.
it's really quite amazing what you can do with it. It's
Hmm.
just there's limitations. Like I said, if you're overly specific about certain things, for your specific case, it might not like to do it that way. So I
Well,
don't know. I see everything.
yeah,
No
Me,
note
text
that the
prompts.
only directive that I've given it is make a cool ass snake game. All of this is it, right? So if I was in there instructing it, oh, make the mutation system of the thing. Okay, next you want to make, I would be doing that one at a time. I'd be getting in the thing's way. For this, I'm like, make a cool snake game. Oh, there's 50 specs. Great. Let it rip. And then I can go back and figure it out later, as opposed to trying to like steer it individually through the whole process.
yeah,
And this what the advantage here is that whatever I get at the end of this, I know it's going to work, and I know like if I need to know how something works, I can expand all the black boxes as I mentioned, basically.
yeah, it seems to me it kind of depends on how much control you want over the final product. Um, Doing it through a spec process, you can still start with a simple prompt, a
Hmm.
simple prompt, and it can lay that out in kind of spec space instead of code space.
Hmm.
And you can read through and say, are we aligned? Are you building the type of thing that I think is cool? And if not, you can iterate on the spec, which I think is easier than iterating on the code. And then once you have the spec in place, Warren, you said that you're able to kind of run off and implement that spec with much smaller models,
Yes, that's the
right?
other thing is the token efficiency here is my I have like 10 different subscriptions and they're all like the $20 tier. So for me, it's very important that I'm using tokens efficiently. Also just because I want to be able to know where to get like efficient free tokens when I need them, essentially. Just because that's something I wanna make available for people is like, hey, I don't have $400 a month to spend on AI, but I want to do sophisticated multi-agent parallel workflow development. Then for me, I go like, hey, you got $50? Like, here, let me set you up. So the idea being like you can between your usage of Bootstrap and then things like IMP code and the GLM coding plan, et cetera, et cetera. If your budget is like $50 or less, you can do like you can do like industrial scale, parallel agentic software development, essentially. It's kind of the idea. And when your boss asks you, how did this code get here and why did you put it in my code base? You can always answer that question, which is a really, really important part I'm finding because it's really easy to vibe code, whatever thing it is that you want. But like when you're actually trying to interface with somebody else's code or if you're trying to work on a team, if you don't know why that code is in that code base at that location with that structure, you're gonna be, yeah, people are not gonna be happy with you. So it as a person who uses agents, I've had to answer that question a lot because if I'm trying to contribute somewhere, I have to go, okay, this is why this thing is here. Um, and because otherwise they go, oh, why are you vibe coding slop into my repo? And my answer, like if something breaks or if something goes wrong, and my answer is, I don't know, the agent did it. That's never acceptable for me. And it's not acceptable for anybody else that I've worked with either, essentially. So this is why I have this sort of like, I have the specs, and then with the other thing that we'll see here after we get the test suite. Smoke should prove it's wired. Interesting. So Codex really wants to start working on this, but all I want is the test suite for now. Um, Make sure you install TypeScript too. We want types for this, not vanilla JS. Um, Confirm. Sure, I guess. Womp womp. I'm out of my Codex messages. I burned too much today. Sad times. Let's see. Who else can we use now? We can use OpenCode. So let's QA out of this. See where we're at. New specs, new changes. And then we got the tests, we got the SRC. Supernova Snake, contracts. Okay, we got a bunch already. All right. Can you check BD for open work items? You should have tests available. Please work through the available items maximally parallel. They should be organized into dependent work streams. Also, we're just going to throw this for a loop here. Port us to TypeScript. Actually, no, we want to throw that on a big model. Do we have any big model left? Maybe not. Okay, whatever. Also, we wanted to use TypeScript. Spec a migration for that using open spec CLI when you're done. Okay, so this guy is normally, I still have some work to do on, but let's see if we can take a look here. We just have, okay, so we just did modules and a little bit of stubs. Very cool, very cool. And then we have all of these tests. Okay, so GLM's a little bit dumb. Why does my, well, my ZAI coding, all of my subscriptions have run out today, unfortunately, it seems.
We're stuck.
Okay. We might be. Let me see. Who we have. We can probably do Gemini. We can do a Gemini. Okay.
Are you finding them to be that interchangeable?
Um, Not especially so, or
Okay.
like it depends really. Let me open code here. Um, yeah, I think it very much depends on what task you unfortunately, I normally I have like kind of one plan that's my primary one, but all of my I've been working on other stuff today, so I've actually hitting limits for once. Um, but let's see. So ZAI coding plan is down. So what we will want, we could do a mini max on Zen. We could see if that works. Check feeds for open work items, then work through all dependent tasks, use subagents in parallel. Well, in a TDD-based workflow. I do normally I would use TypeScript, but we're just gonna YOLO this, I guess.
Hey, Warren,
Yeah.
how important is that prompt to say that you want things done maximally in parallel? Is that not like in your agents dot markdown?
It is, but I find all of the harnesses, for whatever reason, have a little thing in their system prompt that says agents.md may not be relevant to your current task. Feel free to ignore it.
Mm,
It's very aggravating, and I wish people wouldn't do it. So that's why I often end up repeating myself in the prompts that I'm sending to the agent. But ultimately, what I'm saying to the agent shouldn't really matter, right? Because it's got tickets, it's got specs. So all I should really need to tell it is just go, proceed, do your thing.
yeah,
And then if the harnesses didn't all say ignore your agents.md, then all the stuff in the agents.md would say, oh, I need to do TDD. Oh, I need to be maximally parallel. Oh, I need to do, or I probably will put something in there that says use TypeScript and not vanilla JS. Um, but we will see. Are you in the right? You're in the right folder. You are 3.5 codex.
can I ask a
Yeah.
follow-up question on that?
Yeah, go for it.
So I was playing around with Claude Code, and I can instruct it if I have some very parallel task, like, hey, I have 8 files and I want you to like do something with each of them, right? I can just say, hey, use agents and it'll do that in parallel.
Mhm.
Um, but being such a dinosaur, so old school, I feel like shouldn't there be a more explicit way I can force it to do that? Shouldn't there be like a slash something
There
that
are
like,
some config options. Yeah, there's usually I will use specific numbers like between 5 and 10. And then yeah, so he's not going in parallel right now, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, remember to use parallel because the work streams are structured parallel. We
So Ted,
have-
that's all you do is just say use agents to run them in parallel?
yeah, it's just plain text, which I find slightly, I don't know, not forceful enough,
Okay.
Mhm.
you know? So I mean, just playing around, it works, but it's sort of like, uh, is there a more formal way I can tell it exactly what I want?
Yeah, it
Or
would be nice.
Warren, can we
Uh,
look at your agents.md and see where
yeah, sure.
you tell it to do that?
Yeah, let's have a gander. Let's hop over to
Because Ted, it seems like this is where you should be able to do it.
Well, again, even regardless of like whether it follows your agent's markdown or it kind of forgets slash ignores, right? Like it still strikes me as it's like if you're gonna go and call a tool, right? This is sort of like a very formal contract, like, hey, when I call this tool, I'm expecting to get that back. And there's no like very explicit, just like, subagent tool that at least in my early journey that I've encountered.
Hmm. So this is it, Warren?
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. NDC. So, yeah, I actually didn't, let's see. I was searching for parallel here, and I don't think the language here is strong enough. We have a break work into parallel streams. We have parallelize independent work. We have parallel branch orchestration. We have here's one of the tools for it. But yeah, I think in that strict mode and then maybe in the mandatory section here, the fan out gate, delegate bounded tasks to smaller bonded where that reduces. Yeah, I think we're gonna drop that always.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I want to obviously I just refreshed a lot of this today, so it's a lot of it's still kind of another here or there. Fire parallel agents, load skills operator, passive no skills needed. Okay, control X down, control X down. All right, so we have one. We just have the parent. Um, multiple parallel subagents referred to the specs into the dependency graph to figure out how many to deploy. Similarly, parallel works.
So you didn't say what agent, just smaller agent.
Yes. I don't necessarily, so I think on my Droid I have it configured to use or yeah, I think Droid is the one that I have the most types of agents on, which I can show real quick. Droid, droids. So these guys we have a task via GLM API, we have the researcher GLM, we have parallel task worker, generic worker, researcher codex, Kimi code auditor. So yeah, I don't really subscribe to the like um tightly scoped subagent thing. I'm mostly like I have a workflow in mind for how I'm going to approach the problem, which is always the same. It's spec, it's fan out, it's complete, it's verify, it's human readable verification where needed, and then it's spec again. So I don't need different dedicated types of subagents for that. I just need like to tell a big model that I want to spec, tell another, I might be able to like dial it in. Let's see. Do we have more than one? Okay. All right, there we go. So we have 4 or 5, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think core loop, content, shell, mutations, core loop. Okay, yeah, so we have 4 or 5. And so this is just going to continue running. And yeah, this is why I like to use TypeScript because the LSP would have guarded these guys a little bit better. So I need to I'm going to modify that as well. Let's do TypeScript, JavaScript. Okay. We use let's see, core defaults. We're going to add that to our core defaults. For JavaScript, script projects, use TypeScript and Bun. For Go projects, Go should be managed by me. For Python projects, UV, MyPy for stronger typing. We like types. All of this should be managed via Mise en place. Okay, and then the advantage to having a sort of hands-off kind of way or of working as this is I can have multiple stuff going on at the same time and bounce around between all of it. See, I wonder, did I actually, oh, we should do GPT-4 on Medium. Can you spec out a migration to TypeScript for this repo? Noticed we're in vanilla. Sure. Some Git Butler stuff to work on. Speaking of, let's bounce back to that. All right, and then see if I can go back to the workspace. Unfortunately not. Sad times. Wonder if we will. Git Butler. Sad times. Okay, well, I'll have partial TypeScript type snake harness in the work tree, no repo wide migration spec. Checking the catalog. Okay, cool. Sounds good to me. So these guys are just going to cook until we have ourselves a snake game. We'll see how long it takes them. It might take them a while because we got a tiny model and a little bit of codex juice left, but we can squeeze out, I betcha, we can squeeze out a game out of this. Oh no, he needs to read the file and then rewrite it. Okay. Fixing the TypeScript errors. Did we do a semdiff here? Looks kind of, no, that looks like a regular diff. Now let me implement arenas.ts. Okay. Very cool, very cool. And then let's do Control X down, see how many we have. Okay, these are all at least in TS. Very good, very good. So Minimax M25 is going to be our guy that we try to get. Yeah, okay, cool. We got TypeScript happening. And maybe we'll get lucky and it'll compile.
Do you happen to
Okay.
have the summary when you asked it to create a super cool snake game? It came back with kind of a description. Maybe in a
Yeah.
maybe the proposal.md or something like that.
Yeah, like this guy?
Yeah. Can you copy and paste that into Slack for a minute?
Yeah, sure. And then into Slack, right?
Yeah.
Let's drop that off. Nope. Let me grab. There you go.
Okay.
And then I could bust out the cursor. I wonder if cursor agent is still a thing. Let's see. Because my droid, I already burned all of that. Cursor agent. that a thing? Hey. Okay, let me see. It's actually just hacking Zero Claw into my one of my old Androids. I need to see which of my cursors. Cursor.com. Okay, so which let's see.
Where did it go?
Okay, it's this one. Okay, migrated it from JavaScript to TypeScript. Okay, still failing. Proceed, work the beats, tickets, maximally parallel, multiple subagents, ideally 2 to 5.
Or I was distracted. Did you paste that stuff into the Slack?
Yes, should be an
Oh,
agenda.
I was looking in the Zoom meeting. Never mind. Sorry. That was my bad.
All good. Trust this workspace, yes. Okay, model. Let me get composer 1.5. Thank you. Check, check, check BD for any open work items. You may be able to jump in on a existing work stream. Let's hop over here. One of my tool schemas is wrong. That's why. MCPs. It's because browser use needs to die. Get rid of ref. We're gonna lose Serena. Okay. Delegating. Let's see if that actually fires. Hey, there we go.
Now, in this workflow, you said all of your subagents they're working in one directory. Is that right?
Yeah, so normally I'd be relying on Git Butler to kind of help me manage the collisions at the moment. But hopefully because of how we have beads structured. Okay. Implementing 3 functions. Very cool, very cool. Hopefully because of how we have bead structured with the like this is dependent on that hopefully I'll be able to get away with just letting these guys rip and see what happens. But end of the day, once once we have the parallel waves finished, what we'll do is use a larger model because I believe my codex limits have just refreshed. Um, in order to do what we'll do is create Mies tasks that will give us human readable output of things that we actually need to test. So basically what once everybody's done working, we'll run the test suite, we'll see if anybody's failing. Then we will have Codex process the test suite, and then okay, my entire hooks are firing. Very good, very good. And then I guess I can detour over real quick to entire.io and show you guys what that looks like. Once, in order to sign into that, there we go. So meetup 3.5 is no checkpoints, womp womp. Not here. No there. There we go. Then yeah. Then I get agents did all this stuff. And then this didn't pick up a session because I think it thinks it's Claude code. But this will tell me, oh, this was modified independently by a human. This was modified by an agent. So if I need to go back and figure out what the agents are doing, I can go pick apart the individual files based on these checkpoints too. So it's like redundant systems that capture intents, and not all of the intents are mine. So some of the intents are just coming out of robots. So what I need to do is capture all of those intents to make sure I can make sense of this later, essentially. Because as we can tell, I am not database or disk full. Oh boy, do I have a disk space issue too? This is one of those days, man. It was one of those days. Let me see. I've got skip info. Oh no. I wonder what ballooned. Something must have. But let's see if we can do. Yeah, I'm getting disk space owned at the moment.
Uh-oh.
Let's see if there's something that I can like dump real quick. We will have.
Beware when your agents decide they should start removing files in order to make disk space.
Right.
I actually I have a codex that is doing that actually. And it might do so that some of that might happen. So let's see.
We don't need these photos.
Exactly. Can you do?
Hey, actually, simple question related to that. Is there a way in any of these tools to limit them to like not be able to see files other than in the um,
Yes, there is
rooted
a
at where you started them?
for for Claude Code, I know at least it is the environment variable that you set is Claude Code maintain project directory equals 1, and that will lock it to the project directory. Um,
Okay.
the other ones will have various settings and configuration options, but I highly recommend for whichever one that you pick, or if you're like me and you pick all of them, you should regularly either read or scrape and summarize. I do the latter because I use all of them. The changelog.md of all of the docs to figure out what new crazy thing they added this week, because they almost certainly added something that changes things completely. As it often does. A live open code process is
Ted,
holding a new log open.
Ted, was your question or concern about it adding stuff, or was it more that I don't want it to corrupt the rest of I have a system that's shared with my daily workflows. I don't want it corrupting that, like email
Well, I
and
mean,
stuff
just
like
in
that.
general, right? Like if I'm regularly pushing stuff to GitHub, there is somewhat of a limit to how much you can mess up uh, my project folder.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if you modify or delete files in general on my disk, then that could be bad, really bad, right?
You
Yeah.
mean
So,
like
like,
this?
I mean, I noticed that like Claude Code is using um, full global paths to files in my current project, right? So it's
Yes.
not saying here's a relative path from my project root. And so I'm like, okay, well, clearly, if you're using full paths, you hypothetically
I
can
think it
just
just
say slash anything.
you hypothetically can, but it may block it from actually doing like a CD operation to that. I'm not sure what they keep as defaults, but I know the environment variable that you would want to set in that case is
Yeah,
Claude Code maintain project directory equals 1.
right. And then the exception to that is that like my global like Claude config is in my home directory. So I know it's going to read that on
Ye
startup, but
yes. Yep.
hopefully that's the extent of it.
Well, yeah, they all have their own kind of way that they, let's see, so that killed the open code log. So I should be able to resume this session. I got open code.
Ted, is your system a Windows or a Linux?
I'm currently playing on Windows, and I don't know if I should start playing in WSL,
That's yeah,
but I'm
that's what
I
not.
rec
that's what I
I
switched over on mine, and it works fairly good. I'm just thinking there's a simple Linux command, chroot, um,
Mhm.
that might change root, that might do what you want, where essentially you can have them run in their own isolated file system.
It yeah, it you could use yeah, let's see. You could use containers, you could use work trees. I would probably do it in a dev container.
Yeah,
Would be how I would approach that if you wanted to isolate. But personally, I find that I don't really need to isolate. What was happening there was open code makes a gigantic log file, and um, do I've been trying to mitigate that for the last little bit. But while it's open, I can't stop it from logging, even though I put it only into error, which is really annoying.
the
But
type of thing I'd like to avoid. I mean, there's some like going in and deleting my mail files or my image pictures because it needs disk space, as an example. But one of the first times I was using Claude, it was trying to make a some code compatible with one of the libraries.
it
And
does love to do a backwards compatibility wrapper.
well, no, it went into my library directory and modified the installed package to be compatible with my code.
Yep. That which is part of the fun of working with JavaScript or Python with these things is because they'll just dig into the to the
Yeah,
libraries and go modify them for you.
yeah.
Uh,
I
but
didn't like that.
yeah, the I believe by default it respects your .git ignores. So if you have like a venv listed in your git ignore, then it will respect that by default. But I think you can also change a setting, or there is a thing that you can do to codify that. That's the kind of that is the unfortunately I don't have that off the top of my head, but that's the kind of stuff I often discuss in my Wednesday meetup is what new fancy environment variables did they just add that you should know about kind of thing.
Yeah, and for the record, I had a similar issue where um, it was running in the wrong environment, and it started to do some analysis like, oh, I don't see this, and it was it was doing crazy thing. It was starting getting ready to do crazy things, and I was just like, stop, stop, stop everything. Let me just switch you to the correct environment. It's like, oh look, now I can see all the libraries that I need. It's like, yeah, you were about to just get, and it wasn't even just gonna like do like a pip install. It was about to do like crazy things to just try and get like the one specific file it was looking for, as opposed to installing the whole thing.
Yeah, crazy. Hey, Warren,
Yeah.
just as a an experiment, I took that expanded prompt that you had, the
Mhm.
proposal.md, and I just fed that in as a prompt and forgot about the open spec. Um,
Totally.
and it's done.
Heck yeah. What'd you get? Is it playable?
Yeah, I mean, I don't quite know. Here, let me share if I may.
Yeah. Do I need to stop?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
one at a time. So,
One at a time.
like a good kindergarten teacher.
Hmm.
Are we
There we
going?
go. Yeah,
Okay.
we're
And
going.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to. I'm not a very good snake player, obviously.
Okay, okay.
And that
We
that
we got some power up orbs.
I don't know what mutations are or any of that.
I don't either. Okay, I see a red thing that just popped up out of there.
I tried eating the red thing. It's not a good thing.
No, it's not.
Ah,
Nice.
oh, I wrapped around.
I've got mine. Mine is currently auditing the contracts and defining a minimal browser boot because I didn't tell it that we should be able to play this in browser.
So, I think Kevin's gone, it looks like, but I think there is a valid point of
Totally.
like when do you use this? And when is the spec driven good and when is just a simple prompt?
Yeah, at least for me, I don't really stick on the spec thing. I just like to have them. I just want I want the compiler to leave IRs lying around so that if I need to decompile later, then that's easy for me, essentially. So very, very rarely will I actually like step through the open spec workflow. I'll just say, make sure you spec this out. And then I'll say like maximally parallel work streams, go off king, go rip it. And then the reason that I have those specs is so that I can match the spec to the test suite, because I don't know if you guys have ever had tried to do TDD with an agent independently, but they write really weird tests for really random stuff. So that's kind of the reason I have specs is so that I can get a text test suite that actually makes sense, essentially. That's almost the entire reason for it.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
I want
I've tried that as well. I was doing open spec with my bird builder and another project. And even with that, I was trying to drive it with TDD with the spec.
Mhm.
And its tests were basically just an attempt to succeed, just to get it to pass, as
Yeah.
opposed to fulfill the functional requirements. So
Hmm.
that was with Gemini back in September, August, September. So hopefully it's improved since then, but it was not trying to do actual TDD back then.
Yeah, yeah. If you were doing it with Gemini, Gemini just kind of sucks at everything. So that would be my thought for why that was occurring. But I have a little playable version here over in the browser as well. But yeah, the I at least for me, my experience with TDD, Claude or Codex, and then having a spec sheet, it's like yes, those tests still show up, but it's easier for me to pick out, oh, that's a garbage test. I don't need that.
Right.
Oftentimes I won't actually be looking at the test suite. I'll just say, make me a Mies task that gives me like the human version of what I actually need to know from these tests. Because all of the primitives are there for our little sort of makeshift compiler. So what I'm telling it is, hey, give me the human version of all of this compiled information so that I can do sense making about it, essentially.
hmm.
Don't fold into the void.
The graphics are
Whoa.
beautiful, though.
Oh yeah, baby. Here we go. We got it in the corner. Oh.
I love the graphics. Well done.
Well, run over a 15 minute. Yeah, so let's see. All right. Okay.
It's interesting that
Okay.
they were different. Not different. They were.
Just make it cool, robot. But it was,
Let's see,
let's see.
we're 10 minutes
Mhm.
after. So we might want to start wrapping up. Was there anything more we needed to cover that you want hoping to cover?
That's for me. Sorry, it was such kind of a mess, and we had 8 things that we needed to recover from during the middle of it. But
That's live coding for you.
that's live coding for you, baby.
One of the things that so last time we had talked about kind of running the same prompt or the same design and
Mhm.
having different agents implement it. Remember when we had the live coding and some people had access to small models?
Yeah, yeah. That's I guess I kind of did that because we used
Yeah.
Minimax, we used Codex, we used Claude, we tried to use GLM and that failed. We used a little bit of Gemini in there for spice, you know. Oh, a little
Yeah,
Composer 1.5.
I started playing with it and I was um, I was surprised how different the personalities were on the different models. Um,
They are from what I've heard is Codex is very much a an engineer's engineer where it'll make like brutalist kind of terminally feeling things, and Claude has a lot more kind of taste when it comes to UI and
yeah,
such.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard.
Yeah, and they also kind of the reporting on the progress was very different as well, and like how they go about it. Um, I was surprised. One of the ones that really was smaller and worked well because you know that little haiku thing where it says it's contemplating and
Yeah.
imaginating and all those. It seemed like
Flipping.
that's all I've ever seen it do, but it
Mhm.
happened to be one of the choices of the models I could pull up, and it did really well.
Yeah.
Uh,
The new haikus are pretty gnarly.
well, I mean, okay, the models, yeah, I mean, it wrote a good implementation. It did really good testing. It was really interesting. So
Hmm.
I'm not sure what's the best way to kind of capture this, but it was a fun experiment that I think would be good to kind of capture.
I mean, we've
Um,
got like you've got things like SWE bench, et cetera, where you could actually try and benchmark them and see how good they are at doing various coding tasks. Terminal bench
yeah,
as well.
yeah, yeah. I was hoping maybe you and I could tap into you a little bit. It'd be nice
Yeah.
to say, here's a set of 20 models. Here's a specification to start with and have it somehow do them
I
all.
actually have I have two, maybe three utilities I want to test out. There's a repo called let's see if I can find it here. It's not that one. Is it this one? It's baby AGI. Let's
Hey
go.
Roger, while Warren's thinking, you know, I think there's a little bit of danger if we only do one run on each model, but
Yeah,
just for the sake of time, I think it would be difficult for us to do 3 runs, on each model. Maybe at first we don't bite off too many models and we purposefully choose some variety, possibly even a model we think that will struggle with a harder design,
yeah, yeah. And it
Um,
might be that we need different level projects too. I was just doing the Tetris as an example.
yeah,
Um, and even the smallest models seem to be able to do that.
right. Yeah. So I'm thinking if we have something that requires a little bit more design where you've got like different components, and I don't know if there's an easy way for us in my mind, I'm thinking like, you kind of want to see like a time lapse uh
Are you trying
video
to?
of like
Yeah,
what it did with the most important highlights, not just like the boring parts.
yeah, I was getting to kind of the same point is it was useful. It was interesting to see not only the end result, but also the output while it was generating it. And like the steps that it went through. Like I said, Haiku went through and had, a nice full test suite and I didn't read all of it, but looked good. And some of the other models didn't do that well. They were much more terse.
Yeah.
So yeah, it almost seems like um, if I had a way to do a screen recording so that we could not try to do it live because there's a lot of kind of time, dead time in it, but something a
Hmm.
screen recording where we could look at it and say, okay, this if you want to use Grok Fast, this is what it looks like. This is the type of screen it generated. As Warren said, some seem to be a lot more stylish and polished than the other ones. Um,
Yeah.
it, it it was interesting. It's going to be a lot of work to compile it all, but maybe you're right. Maybe the right view is just let's pick a few and try that.
Yeah. Sorry, I need to run. So,
Okay. All right. We'll go ahead and wrap
but
up
let me
then.
know what you guys decide and I can
Okay.
help out.
Are you okay with that Quen 3.5 paper then for next week?
Uh, Doing the paper or actually playing with the model?
Well, there actually I don't know that I've read the paper yet. I've just been reading kind of posts about it. But I'd also be interested in trying to get the model going. I'm
Yeah,
really curious. Go ahead.
I've seen some people talk about using the latest small Quens
Yeah,
to do coding with a local model.
that's what I would
And
like to see what the capability is right now.
yeah, and the comments that I've seen is it's really it's not quite there yet.
Oh, really? Interesting.
All
I
right, I'm
was
gonna run.
just
I'll talk to you
All
later,
right.
Roger. Feel
All
free
right.
to ping me anytime.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we could do something cool like that. I was just showing off a design arena over here where you can try to discover which models are better at which. So you can go like design cool snake game interface for this prompt. I don't know
What is
why
this
this is
doing?
being this will pit multiple models against each other. And then also this has like game dev, and this has like 5.4 medium,
What's the
GLM5.
score? Who
Uh
likes it's ranking them? Who likes which one do you like
yeah,
better?
who
It's like,
likes the designs? So like we have like this thing, and then somebody presumably voted on that or whatever. Let me see if there's like does this have the it doesn't, unfortunate. But yeah, you can build a cool snake game with many feature. Boop, boop.
so it's going to generate just the kind of the UI aspect of it and then
Yes.
allow people to say, do you like A or B?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get an ELO score for the models.
Yes, or I don't know exactly. Okay, model A, this guy's still thinking. Model A is like, oh, I already got a little bit of reasoning here. Vites, Tailwind, power-ups, game modes. This guy is cool snake game with many features. So then these guys are just gonna build at their leisure, and then we'll
Interesting.
see what we get then. Yeah, so that could be you could probably use something like this to either that or like make something that's sort of inspired by that to see what we will get. And then I want to check on my codecs and see. All right, he says that's going and it's on 4173. So let's go to localhost 4173. All right, launch the run. All right. Okay, oh no. I can't get this one in the corner, dude. Rip, rip.
So it just create what is this that you're looking at?
This is
This
the
the
game.
Okay, this is the result of the whole exercise, bootstrap
In
exercise.
indeed. Reduced FX on, okay, so it's got a little bit of like background starfruit stuff. Ooh, and we had like a phase core. I have no idea what that is. Collapse reason hazard. Okay. Ooh, okay, so we have red
Watch out
ones
for the
going
red
over
things.
the yeah. Cool. We got a couple of mechanics in there. Very nice, very nice. I want to make that thing a little bit bigger, but yeah, that's super cool.
Hey, I'm going to stop the recording. We're
Yeah, sounds good to
yeah.
me.
Okay.